Hello folks, welcome to my home on this very beautiful autumn morning. The name of this video is called the Guy Vivified Life. Now I'm going to include, what I'm going to share today, I'm going to include this because I did a lot of research in my upcoming book, No Love, No Fear. That's K-N-O-W for no love and N-O, no fear. And then I repeat it, no love, no fear, N-O, love, and then K-N-O-W, no fear. My first book that I wrote, and these are some good sized books. I did a lot of research. Okay, I didn't skimp at all with these books. The first book that I wrote is called In Defense of God's Love, and as well as, there's the back copy, as well as Is God Bipolar? Alrighty, and I'll leave a link to these on Amazon, a link to Amazon on the Show Me More section. And as soon as that other book is finished, it's in the final process of being edited, and it'll be published shortly. So anyway, the reason I'm bringing this all up, because I included in these two books a little bit, okay, in these two books, what I'm going to share today. But what I'm about to say right now, and as well as in the upcoming book, it goes completely against Christian teaching and the natural mind. Now, I didn't mean that as an insult, but you do notice how I combined Christian teaching with the natural mind? Did you notice that? See, Jesus promised us, and this is where everybody's going to put on the brakes, okay? Jesus promises us all, a vivified life, not an eternal one. Ooh, how was that one for you? However, let me throw in that however before you quote me on that. A vivified life, will last for an eternity. Okay, I hope that made sense. And I hope you got the nuance. You know, this means vivified life that's available right now. So what does a vivified life mean? Here's the answer. I'm going to quote. To give life to, animate, quicken, to enliven, brighten, sharpen life. Anyway, do you know what causes a lead weight to pull down an animated, quickened life, making it unappealing instead of an enlivened, brightened, sharpened life? Do you know what pulls that down? Sin. Ha ha! But not in the way that you and I have been taught. We've been taught wrong, okay? Because the focus of sin internally robs us of a vivified life. Not sin, but the focus of it does it. Sin doesn't do that. Sin has its own price, and outwardly, we may have to suffer its consequence of hurting one another, from that degree all the way to spending time behind bars, and even to the umpteenth degree of resulting in death penalty. You following me? So I'm not talking about what goes on outwardly. No. But what's going on with the insides of most people who call themselves Christians. From the very beginning of Christianity, the carnal religious mind has robbed the Christian people of a vivified life by continually focusing on sin rather than what Christ did about it. I know I'm not wrong, folks. I spent over 35 years ministering in the within Christianity, Christendom, okay? So either Jesus conquered sin on our behalf or he didn't. So I believe he did, even though we sin daily. Aha. And that's the crux of the problem I'm trying to address in this video. Logic dictates that if something harmful still exists and we witness the consequences, then you would have to conclude that a victory has not been achieved, right? Even though Jesus conquered sin and was victorious. Are you following me? However, that's carnal thinking, because God's truth dictates. That's actually carnal thinking from the natural mind that Christendom and most others completely, totally embrace. So God's truth dictates that love keeps no, and I'm going to put it in parentheses with my hands, okay? God's truth dictates that no eternal record of wrong. That love keeps no eternal record of wrong. So there has to be a temporal record because God disciplines those he loves, and he loves the whole world. So much so, and I'm going to quote a very famous verse and add a nuance. So much so that he gave his only begotten Son, and whoever believes in him will have, and the correct Koine Greek rendering is, so they will have an aeonian life, a quality vivified life. Your Latin-based Bible says eternal life. Okay? Do you see the problem? God has instructed us to believe. Most definitely, God has instructed us to believe in order to have a vivified life. Yes. But Christianity has twisted that and perverted it to mean that we have to believe to obtain eternal life. Do you see the perversion? However, as long as we focus in on sin, it will greatly affect having a vivified life. No doubt. And eternity, folks, has absolutely nothing to do with it. This is why it says in Colossians 2:14, having canceled out the certificate of debt consisting of the decrees against us, which was hostile to us, he has taken it out of the way, having nailed it to the cross. Don't you see? This explains the conundrum of how Jesus conquered sin, nailing it to the cross, yet we still sin. Okay? I'm hoping you're following this. Because God isn't keeping an eternal record of a debt of sin. Man and religions are. They're the ones that are keeping the eternal record by claiming you're going to eternally pay the price. Oh man, I hope this is sinking in. I really do, because I'm sharing a vivified life that I'm experiencing by knowing these truths. You know, I would rather believe that there's no record nor a decree against me than continually walk in fear of disappointing God. Wouldn't you? Which one of these options best describe a vivified life? I just said. If it's the issue of sin, then stop sinning. Good luck with that. I'm close to a closing here. I've obtained, for the most part, a vivified life by ignoring sin. What? Yes, you heard correctly. Because I put all of my confidence in the accomplishments of Christ instead of my daily ability to overcome sin. Whew. Man, what a burden off my shoulders. I'm no longer in bondage to it because I'm free from the eternal ramifications of it. The temporal ramifications are obvious, spoken about in 1 Peter 4:6. That declares that though we, includes us, are judged in the flesh as men, we may live in the Spirit according to the will of God. So in conclusion, Christianity is on a fool's errand by trying to get us to accomplish what Jesus has already accomplished on our behalf. Are you so foolish? Having begun by the Spirit, are you now being perfected by the flesh? That's in Galatians 3:3. If you disagree with what I've said on this video, and you're going to leave a comment, make sure it's polite. I don't care if you agree or don't. But if it's not a polite comment where we can actually talk about these things, then I'm going to delete your comment. Okay? Consider leaving me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, either one. And also think about subscribing to this channel if you haven't already. Let me see. Look me up on Facebook. I have a private group that goes by the name of the Why Guy Group. And I have an open public timeline that goes by an avatar name of John Anthony Jones. I meant to type Jonathan, and it was a typo. John Anthony Jones. Anything else, I'm also going to leave a link asking for support through Patreon or Coffee as well. I hate it happened to do that, but circumstances forced me into that. I mean, I've done so much research, and I've shared videos now for going on 6 years, and those first 5 years and 5.5 years, I never asked for anything from anybody. But this COVID thing kind of destroyed my business. Anyway, thank you so much for viewing.